Good morning, everybody. It's the Morning Vibe live on August 29th, 2022. Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, and co-host and co-producer of the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dovemen Plus Care, and also just here to hang out. Ryan Knight has been found and he has been retrieved. As always, I like to say, you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles and a solution for someone's problem. Good morning, Dr. Knight.
Yeah, good day, Dr. Vibe. Always good to see you, brother. For those that don't know who Dr. Knight is, or Ryan Knight, I'm one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage the business is in today and help them create a blueprint to grow their companies exponentially. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we come to your house or to your office, clean your car on the spot without using water, and our plant-based, eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And of course, I'm rocking my PACU shirt, the Pan-African Credit Union. We have our application in to FISRA. So now it's time for the community to show its support. Go to the website, pacu.ca, and pledge and show your, let's get this financial institution led by the Black community for the Black community off the ground.
Good. What's been going on?
Yeah, what has been going on?
Actually, you know what? I gotta stop. Stop. I push the needle a little bit early. Gotta do something here. You know what I gotta do? What do you think I gotta do?
Ooh, are we repping one of those?
Hold on, you're gonna take too long. So, so this episode is sponsored by the McMillan Group. Buying your first home, overwhelmed by debt, or thinking of buying a rental property or vacation home, providing mortgage solutions since one client at a time since 1999. The McMillan Group is there to help you. So if you want to reach them, Canada 905-813-4354, US 904-586-5636. I gave you a question and you messed it up.
I'm so disappointed. Wild? I felt like today was Friday. So I'm like, do we have a sponsor on Fridays? I was like, oh, maybe it's somebody new.
Today is like, Friday? Okay. So what's been going on?
Yeah, like I was saying, the weekend's been relaxing but productive. Last night we were with during the day on Sunday, it was with the youth entrepreneurs and Detailing Nights. But the Saturday, we were actually out in the Niagara region. So from Friday to Saturday, my niece was having her birthday. So Jazz got to travel to Great Wolf. Was it Great Wolf Lodge or Great? Yeah, part. And listen,
how was that?
It was entertaining. I would say, I don't know if it's worth the price, but it's quite entertaining. No, they had a blast. And so Christian and I, while Jazz was at her party with her cousin, we got to kind of do father-son stuff. We went to the falls and we actually took the GO train all the way to Niagara Falls. So that was an adventure in itself.
How was that?
Yeah, it's like we took the GO train and to Burlington, you have to switch to the GO bus, and the GO bus takes you all the way into Niagara.
Okay.
It's pretty seamless, but
Okay.
3 hours ish on the road. So yeah, Christian was a trooper, and we
All
got to go
right.
to dinner together. He enjoyed his pasta at Napoli, and what else did we do? We got to see the fireworks. So he was talking to the gentleman at the hotel, and like chatting up. This little 7-year-old with the owner of the hotel, and so the owner is telling him, "Is like, oh, did you know that there's fireworks happening later?" So he's like, "Dad, we have to go down. You have to walk all the way this way." So he's leading me because he got the directions. So we walked all the way through Clifton Hill and down to the fireworks. And yeah, man, he loved it.
Good stuff. Well, I'm glad you had a great weekend. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. How about yourself? I saw some excellent episodes happening on the weekend and
Well,
conversations.
yeah, well, things have
Mm,
changed up, but my Saturdays have been
mm,
a little bit quieter. So Sundays is
right.
the heavy day. So yesterday midday, I have
Mm,
to shout out Moy Fung. She had myself and Elder Louis March. We were talking. Him
mm,
and I were on stage together at an event called, I
right.
don't know if I can see the tape, Pray for the Men Damn event.
Yes. Because that was
Right?
Saturday morning, right?
No, no, no. That was yesterday.
Oh, Sunday. Oh,
Yesterday.
Sunday morning. Right, right.
Yeah, so that was yesterday, and it's funny. I've known Elder Louis Marsh for many years, and it was, I think, for we've known each other for about at least 20 years. It was the first time him and I were on stage together.
What?
Like we've been on digital stages together.
Yeah, but in
But it
person.
was the first time. It was really
Ah,
amazing, great conversation.
that's
So hail up,
excellent.
as we like to say, hail up Moy
Mm,
Fung, and she's going to be doing more of those events. I'm going to collaborate with her to, because she has a very big passion to help men, and
yes.
it was a really good conversation. So that was yesterday, and as you said, came home yesterday afternoon after that and did hosted Black Canada Talking with Nakembe, and she was
Mm,
fabulous as always. And then last
excellent.
night, as we were talking before we went live, we call it I called the edit show, but it's called
Right.
State of Things with Aisha and Jill. Aisha wasn't there
Yes.
last night, but Jill and Laura Lalaki were, and Jill
Mm,
is known for her prolific language. Let's put it that way.
right.
So, and you gave me a good
That's
idea.
good.
I'm gonna have to say parental advisory because Jill don't hold back.
Right.
You know, she has the love of a certain former
Oh.
president of the United States. I'm being sarcastic.
Oh,
So that,
yes. And
yeah,
he
so
just
that.
can't get out the news, man. Holy moly.
So that went on. Had a um I'll talk about it at the beginning. I'll also
Mm,
talk again. I think I talked about on Friday. You weren't here. Was there with Tim Frame? We're talking about Black
yes.
Canadian media. If anyone gets the chance, you may or may not know this name, Tavis Smiley. Tavis
Right.
Smiley, many years ago, was like a very well-known uh, host on BET. Left
Yes.
BET, then to go to PBS, and I believe, he was the first African American male to host a daily talk show on a major network, PBS. And then
Okay.
a big scandal arose about him sexual innuendo with employees there.
Mm.
That lawsuit is still going on, by the way, because they offered him a whole
Really?
bunch. Yeah, well, they
Oh,
kept it's a long interview on Vlad TV. It's two and a
yes.
half hours, and they cover so many different things. And
Mm.
one of the things is he had I keep on repeating myself, but I really enjoyed this conversation. He had a 20-year personal relationship with Prince.
Oh, okay.
20 years, and it was fascinating, some of the stories.
Yes.
Like, I'll get to them too quick because we have something new and exciting to
Mm.
put out, but two quick stories. First of all, Tavis Smiley now owns a Black alt talk radio station in LA. He bought one.
Okay.
He bought
In
one,
LA.
KTLA, and I'm finding a
Ah,
way to get him on the show because he was one of the major reasons I started my online digital journey, hosting conversations. And he said
yes, yes.
many years ago, Prince told him that
Mm.
content is king, but distribution is the emperor.
Oh, okay. Right.
So everyone and our friends in the background are nodding their heads, saying, "Yep, yep, yep,
Love that.
absolutely." And then people, uh, the Michael Jackson song "Bad."
Hmm.
If you know that song, "She's Bad, She's Bad." Okay, so when Michael was making that album, he wanted Prince to co sing that song with him.
Okay.
So what happened was Quincy Jones, who was Michael Jackson's producer at that time, as they're making the album, Quincy Jones invites Michael Jackson and Prince to his home to talk about them collaborating on this song. And of course, what's happening? Prince is calling, is Michael there yet? No. Michael's calling, is Prince there yet? So they don't want to be the first one to show up.
Come on.
No, this is verbatim what and this comes out in the interview with Tavis Smiley. So they're jockeying. So like after 45 minutes,
yes,
Quincy goes, Michael, just get in here.
Yes.
So Michael shows up 30 seconds after Prince shows up. So he was just waiting for him. Right?
Like probably watching from the bushes.
Yes. Gamesmanship, right? So they sit down, they begin talking. So Quincy and Michael say, hey, Prince, we'd like you to sing this, be on this song. So they give Prince the lyrics. Now there's a lyric in Bad goes, your butt is mine. Right?
Yes, there is.
So Prince looks at this and says, who's singing this lyric? So Quincy go, well, we want you to sing it. He goes, and he gets up and leaves.
Wow.
Says he ain't singing to Michael Jackson, your butt is mine, even in a song.
Yes. Wow.
He got up and left.
I believe it. Oh,
right?
moly. Yes.
So I keep on the interview is great because there's so many different elements about, Prince, Michael Jackson, Cornel West. It's like 2.5 hours, but he also breaks it up in different segments. So you can watch it segment by segment.
Okay, yeah.
Fascinating conversation. So cool. Fascinating. So we have two people bigger than Prince and Michael Jackson coming on right now.
Agreed. And we've actually got to meet them. I never got to meet Prince or Michael Jackson. So
well,
we got the stars in the building.
I did meet Prince once for about 15 minutes. So that was quite a memorable conversation. But you know what? Let's get the real stars up today. So we always like doing wonderful things on this program. And we have a brand new monthly segment coming up. And I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm going to let our two friends talk about it. So we're going to bring up Janice and Marie from Foodpreneur Lab. Good morning, ladies.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
What's going on? How we doing?
We're good.
Love it.
Good. I know that Marie's a morning person. Janice, well,
not so much.
We're working on it.
Thank you, Ryan. Yes. I'm a work in progress.
Okay. Taking it though. She really does. She does a good job in the morning. So it's good.
Yes.
So Janice, you've been with our family before. If you can give a short bio on yourself, and then Marie, go ahead after. So Janice, go ahead.
Sure. My name is Janice Bartley. I am the founder and executive director of Foodpreneur Lab. And we are a non-for-profit, and we focus on supporting our Black food entrepreneurs. And currently we have two pathways that's supported through the Black Entrepreneurship Fund, which we're thrilled about, in which our mandate is to support 200 Black food entrepreneurs over the next 4 years. And we've just seen some amazing developments and food products that we've helped launch to market, and it's been amazing. I have to say that. So Marie, over to you.
Thanks, Janice. So my name is Marie Fitrion, and I have the pleasure of working with Miss Janice Bartley every single day at Foodpreneur Lab, and I manage the participant and the program, I guess, from a day-to-day operations perspective. So that double cohort of 100 food entrepreneurs, I get to work with them closely, which is really cool. And I've been a food entrepreneur for the last 10 years. I've run a catering company with my husband called Urban Acorn Catering. We do a lot of events. They tend to be more plant-based, but we've been doing that, of course, prior to the pandemic. And then I also run a online blog and collaboration pop-up with my partner called Voodoo Haggis Stories, which is just a little bit about.
That's the whole idea.
Very cool.
Voodoo Haggis.
I feel like that's a whole show on its own, but
yes,
kind of
like more content.
Just a place for you know, observing food from as a medium for connection and identity and communication. So that's sort of the principle of that piece there.
Okay. All right. So, geez, I think it was about a month and a half ago, Janice and I were chatting, and it was just in my mind because every time Janice comes on, it's like a mass.
It's so true.
Coming to me saying, who's that? I say, okay, well, let's see if we can. She has time in her positive productive schedule to come on once a month and just talk about food, etc. So as of today, they're going to be coming on once a month, and they're going to be talking about, we've got a new series called Beyond Jerk, Reclaiming Food for the Diaspora, with these two wonderful ladies. So how did you come up with the title?
I know this is.
Did I ask a wrong question?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we were talking about as a team, and I want to give a shout out to my team. I have some of the most fantastic females and they all have a bit of a food background. They're all entrepreneurs. And so you just get a different lens. And it's from, as Marie's Haitian to Asian to North American, from Newfoundland and Jamaican. So it just straddles that length and breadth. And so we all come with a different lens. And one of the things that we were talking about Black food per se is that when you ask people about, so what's Black food? The first thing they go is, oh, jerk.
Right.
Jerk. And so we said, okay, well, it's beyond jerk. So we wanted to encompass that. And then, Marie put together, reclaiming food for the diaspora, because that's really what it is. And yet we're so similar, but yet so different. And so this is where the conversation happens, where we can talk about, our similar experiences, regardless of which diaspora we're coming from, because the similarities are profound. We think we're so much different, but we're not. And so, there's that educational element to it, and entertainment, of course, that goes without saying.
Of course. And like having worked
with
Black food.
I gotta say something. I can imagine Marie provides constant entertainment in your group. So I just get this feeling. Of
course. I mean, her and I are very similar in a sense of humor, so we get along very.
It's always a party when Janice and I are together.
We call it, you both have wit. You have good wit.
Yes. Yes. Which makes for a great environment, because we were talking about this the other day, where we laugh before a meeting starts. We laugh during our meetings, and we laugh after a meeting. So it doesn't get better than that.
Wow.
Love that.
So Marie, and from where I'm sitting right now, you have been an incredible addition. Like I was saying before we went on live, Marie has given us everything we need for the rest of the year, every month, family. Do you know how rare that is? Like,
Right.
We got things at a time.
I'm a planner, guys.
Well, I can tell. That was amazing. So kudos to you, and thank you for making what we're doing today easy.
Thanks for having us. I think this is a really cool opportunity. And, I was saying with Janice and I, with the project, we've been able to work with now 100 Black food entrepreneurs. And there are so many food items that I had never heard of prior to working on this project that are not available in stores, that like you really have to know what you're looking for. And like, that's what we kind of want to showcase here as well, is talk about all those different food opportunities or food items out there that just don't have that same accessibility in stores or in restaurants, but they will.
Yes.
Well, and that's what I was curious about, because it's titled Beyond Jerk. What were some of the items that have come through that maybe myself as a Jamaican wouldn't even think of, that is part of our culture and might be on shelves pretty soon thanks to Foodpreneur Lab?
Yes, I mean, like for me personally, there's one participant right now who makes pickles, which is something that I grew up eating. It's like a pickled cabbage slaw, and it's spicy and it kind of goes on everything. And
that's Haitian.
And it's Haitian.
That's Haitian.
It's not something that you can get readily here in Toronto, certainly not in Ontario, maybe Quebec, maybe Montreal. Certainly there's a bigger Haitian community there. But I mean, it's super, super tasty. And like my partner and I started making it 10 years ago, and we started selling it. We had a little market once upon a time, and we started selling little jars here and there. And every time people would try it, this is amazing. I'm like, I don't know why this is not available, but I'm just so excited to see items like this sort of go through that commercialization process and people trying to launch their businesses with these products. Another one was like Nigerian chin-chins, which are sort of like a deep fried dough snack. They're tasty. I love them.
Okay, yes.
And like I had no idea they existed 6 months ago, but now they rock my whole world. So
love that.
Actually, just a real funny story here in regards to diaspora and food. The majority of TV I watch, which isn't a lot, are food reality shows. And I'm really hooked on MasterChef. Hooked on it, like the US one, the Canadian one. But there's also MasterChef UK, MasterChef Australia. There's another show I just got into called My Kitchen Rules, where they have couples competing each other, but what they do is for one evening, they have a couple cook a whole meal and the other couples get to judge it.
Gotcha.
And it's really high dining. Like one of the co-hosts is Nigella Lawson. She's fairly well known. And so she's one of the judges. But getting back to their celebrity chef, master chef in the UK, and they had this Black Jamaican gentleman who was a boxer in England. And the first thing he cooked was bully beef and rice.
Yes.
Bully beef
with ketchup too. You put ketchup on it.
I don't know, but it was like, and it's funny because someone who I follow on Instagram, like put the clip up of him cooking bully beef and rice. I just thought, like, I'm going, okay, all right, bully beef and rice.
So, Maria, are you familiar with bully beef? You know, the bully beef is corned beef in the tin.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Gentlemen, we have to bring context because sometimes.
Yes, I know. Haitian, Jamaican,
All good.
Exactly. So, they probably sprinkled it with some hot pepper sauce. Trust me on that.
Yes.
I'm going to see about
canned ham is a big deal.
And
the onions were there.
And chopped onions. That's right.
The onions are there.
I'm not going to pretend I haven't had my share.
Agreed.
But so we're so happy that you're going to be with us once a month till the end of the year. And we already have all the conversation topics picked out, family. But today, since it is back to school, the ladies wanted to talk about lunchbox stories.
Yeah.
So why did you want to talk about lunchbox stories on your first appearance?
Well, like you said, I mean, the timing's perfect. Like I have small kids that are going back to school next week. And so that's my whole life right now. I'm just ordering tags and buying new Tupperware containers that are going to get lost very soon. And, like I'm already matching lids to bottoms. And I'm like, I'm not going to see you by the end of the year. And the idea actually came from one of our coworkers, who was like, it's always fun to ask people what they had in their lunch, either at school or at work, that was cultural and sort of what that experience looked like. And it's a really interesting indicator.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
And how much of it is cultural? Because if you're in a workplace, what access do you have to cultural foods? Which is interesting. I think maybe if you work in like an office complex and you go down to the food court, that's a little, and also too with the proliferation of food trucks.
Yes.
So Ryan, have you had any cultural food? Okay.
Well, I remember when I was in grade 7, and in my lunchbox, we always had bun and cheese. And I used to be like one of the only Black students in the school here in Brampton. And it wasn't until another student came in, and Obi, his name was Obi, and somebody had asked, like, oh, what is bun? Like one of the white students was like, oh, what's that you having? And then Obi was like, oh, it's a type of cake. and I never knew how to answer the question of what bun was.
Yeah.
And then he was just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
having, backup and being able to understand culture more, that when you look at people's lunch boxes, it tells so much about their culture.
Of course.
And usually you don't ask. I know white people love to ask, but I don't. But that's where being able to actually,
don't care what you're eating.
That's right. Because we've been trained that way. We've been trained not to ask. It's rude. Or are you too
right?
fast?
Yeah. What my business for?
Exactly. Or how many times I tell you, don't eat from people you don't know, so you don't care.
Exactly.
Right?
Wow.
So we've been raised that way. But it's funny you said that, because when we decided to run with the Lunchbox series, it was like, okay, I was like, so let's go back a second. First of all, we used to carry these metal boxes that are probably carcinogenic when we look back now. Okay.
Oh, geez, right. They're banned for a reason. I don't know.
Exactly. I thought about that this weekend. I'm going, hang on a second. Those lunch pails were probably full with lead, carcinogenic, and they had those glass thermoses. Who gives a 5-year-old a glass thermos?
Right.
Spoiler alert. They'd always,
yes.
they'd always break. They'd always break. And I remember as a kid, the pressure of trying to keep that glass thermos intact, for that whole year. But to Marie's point about the Tupperware dish, we have a solution. Jamaicans use margarine dishes. Okay, and they ain't got to worry about
I can't send my like second generation kindergarten kids to school with a margarine container. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, man, it's cheaper than Tupperware.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, food experts, what type of food is bun? What food category would it go into?
It's a cake that is steeped in dragon stout and yeast. Let's keep it real, because bun is made from stout and sugar. It's high in sugar. That's what people don't realize too. Very high, right?
Right.
Yes, very much so. And then when you slap on that New Zealand sliced cheese, which I don't know if that's what.
No, Jamaican cheese. Jamaican cheese.
Jamaican cheese is New Zealand sliced cheese out of the tin. Where you been, man?
You see that?
There is no Jamaican cheese. It's new. You never seen the tin?
Yes,
when you go to your auntie house and go on the back balcony, all those plants used to sit in the New Zealand cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where it came from. That's where the cheese came from.
I'm gonna have to
it came
read
in a
that
cylinder in the tin, and you'd
Yes.
slice it in wedges and sell it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
the
part
big
of
thing
our
at Easter, where the prices go through the roof.
Exactly, because we'd have to import that stuff, right? And it was so funny. I was in the car the other day, and of course, growing up, high school for me, lunch was cocoa bread and patty, right?
Yes.
And it's so funny because a cocoa bread is like a dough.
Oh yes, it's bad here. It's three against one right now. 3 Jamaicans and 1 Haitian. So it's
So you slice it and you put the whole patty in there, okay? And that is a meal in itself. Okay. But here's the kicker. I was saying to somebody, and I said, my true definition of a patty, of a real Jamaican patty, is when it burns in the whole of your mouth because it's so hot.
Yes. Because you bite it and the hot air bite at the wrong angle, and the whole meal is ruined.
And it's burning your thumb because you're trying to keep
your upper mouth, your roof, the roof of your.
Lying? Am I lying? Nope.
Okay, wait. Does that mean there's hot sauce? There's hot sauce.
It's just the heat. It's just the heat from the meat. When you bite into it, it just explodes and overflows. And if it's not burning your mouth or your thumb, then they ain't a real Jamaican patty.
Oh, geez, yes.
It's a temperature issue. I gotcha.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, this is hilarious. So just to do a reset, when we're here with Janice and Marie from Foodpreneur Lab, we're having lunchbox stories. So hey, put in your lunchbox story, whether it's from work now or when you were younger. Like Client Whisper is saying, back in the 70s in elementary school, before all this peanut allergy, we had lunch swapping in our classrooms once a month, which forced us to try other cultural foods.
Oh, gotcha.
That's interesting. That
Absolutely.
is and then Cher is saying, morning, everyone. My coworkers use the it smells so good as a segue to ask what I'm eating for lunch. I will tell you, just back up.
I don't know, you get away from me.
That's the line of the day. Just back up, please. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Now you can use COVID protocols. It's like social distance, please.
I'm telling you, man. And they don't have no shame coming up to you. So what is that you're eating?
Oh my good, just back up, please. Oh my goodness.
But I think one of the things that I can throw in there was the worst lunchbox thing you could ever put in the lunchbox, and I don't know if any of you can relate to this. Was the New Brunswick sardine?
Yes.
Okay. That on hard-boiled bread with some tomato sauce, and you open that lunchbox, and all you get is the woof.
Ooh, right. Yes.
And I was like, yeah, we're gonna trade lunch today.
Wow.
So listen, man, if it came in a tin, I gotta hand it to us as Jamaicans, man. We will throw some mayo and some tomato sauce and cut up some onions, sprinkle it with a little bit of seasoning, boom, you're out the door.
Okay. Absolutely. Wow. I'm still trying to back the line back. Just back up, please. I'm trying to move pass through.
I know.
Like a security card.
Yeah. So what did you carry in your lunch, Marie? Like as a kid, as a child, what was in your lunchbox?
So the joke is that like my lunchbox kind of de-evolved when we moved to Ontario from New Brunswick. My dad and I went to the same school that my dad worked at, so he was a teacher there. Yes. I can't speak for all Haitians, but what I will say is that there's not a lot of distinction between our meal types. So like breakfast can be lunch, can be dinner. It's kind of like a hodgepodge of the same foods being used at different times. And so my dad would just margarine container himself a lunch, which was essentially dinner. Yeah. And then like 6-year-old Marie would walk to the teacher's lounge and I'd knock on the door and my dad would just like give me this like lukewarm container of like banan fig or like diria jonjon and he'd give it to me and then I'd walk back to my classroom and eat it. And I think that lasted a couple of weeks. And then I was like, I need a lunch like everyone else.
Right, yes.
Lunch.
Yeah.
I was the only person of color in my entire school. I was just like, I need something like, everyone was eating, I'm of the generation of the crunched up raw Mr. Noodles. I don't know what was wrong.
Wait,
I don't know what was wrong with us at the time.
Like not cooked?
Not cooked. For some reason, I begged my parents for this.
Come on. Not cooked?
That is new. I have not heard that one.
Yep.
But I'm curious, Marie, what's your go-to now for your kids? What do you typically pack them?
Go-to now? I mean, I work from my kids.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids are 4 and 3, so we keep lunch nice and simple. Like everything is things they can eat with their fingers, right? Like little grapes or goldfishes or whatever. But I would love to be able to put some more Haitian food in there. It's just a lot of it doesn't travel cold, right? It's like a meal. Like I'm not going to give them like, here's some cornmeal, here's some rice in their meal. They're not quite at that age for that to happen yet, but we'll see. Maybe we can get some Haitian snacks.
So this brings the question, like what good snack foods are there for lunch available from our diaspora? Like we all know about patties and cocoa bread, but like it's always interesting when I go into our culture's takeout stores and the number of non-melanated people who come in for lunch. Yeah. Like
it's not travel food.
It's not. To your point, Marie, I was going to say our food is not travel food. I think historically, if you look at it culturally, it makes sense. It makes sense because
Can I interrupt, Janice? I got the backup. Please continues. Here we go. She goes. It's the saliva. I have a problem with people taking over my food. Sorry, right. Not sorry. So I had to interrupt. Sorry.
It's the saliva. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, Janice. I just had to put that in there.
Oh, I love that. I love that. But yeah, yeah.
Is there a food opportunity there about how can we make our food more, or is there a need to make our food more travel worthy?
I don't know, and to be honest, because I'm sure in every area within the diaspora, one of us has transportable food, right? So the question is, we kind of keep our identity to what we're known for. So Jamaican food is work food. You eat, you're belly full, and you go on and get your job, right?
Okay, right, right.
And as an example, I mean, I had a goat roti this weekend, and that one goat roti was my entire meal for the entire day. You don't need anything else
for your day. Yeah. Take a nap.
So and Jamaicans are notorious for that. Like, we don't play with our food. We want a solid meal, and we give you a solid day's work, right?
The soup must have dumpling in it.
Hello, and if the soup too runny, take it back. Okay? We want some substance to our food. Yes. And so to my point early, there's a lot of history behind that as well, and so you haven't really seen that much change. Interestingly enough, it also ties into Ryan's point, with the dumpling, the dasheen, the cocoa. When you look at, when Christopher Columbus discovered Jamaica, and then after the Spaniards, the Brits took over, it was really the Brits that brought these seeds for us to grow some of these non-indigenous foods as well, right? So when you start looking at what Captain Blythe brought in, he was procured to bring in certain seeds. And one of the things that I talk about is, are you guys, except for Maria, and maybe they call it something else, it's called Etioti apple. You guys remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So an Etioti apple is actually not called an Etioti apple. It's called and I want to get it right, Otahite apple. Okay. And of course,
I think we also need a diaspora dictionary.
Exactly. And so that was part Asian and Australian. And so that was brought into Jamaica. So it's not part of, so it's not really part of it. So when you really start to drill down in terms of the foods and other countries as well within that diaspora, you get the same messaging, which is some stuff's brought in and some stuff some foods are indigenous to the island. But yeah, I don't know if Nigeria and other African countries clearly have foods that are more transportable, and they travel well. But one of the things that I wanted to ask, how many people had porridge for lunch? One of the things I love about Jamaica is, man, rice porridge, plantain porridge, cornmeal porridge.
Cornmeal porridge.
Yes.
Banana porridge. It's like,
it just runs on and on and on and on, right?
It's like they wake up in the morning and go, oh, look, we can make a porridge out of it.
Yes.
We can make porridge out of anything.
Yeah.
I think there's an opportunity through fruit, maybe even to interject, right? I mean, it's expensive, obviously, if you're going to be buying indigenous fruit and bringing it into kids' lunches. But Mike, you can start them small. You put pineapple and things, and I know my kids are currently obsessed with pineapple, and they're obsessed with all things.
I love pineapple. Oh, I love pineapple, but not on pizza.
But I love it on pizza.
Oh, thank you, Marie. Yes, virtual high five.
Friends,
No.
Listen.
No. Well, so Client Whisperer XL, which is aka Tim Frey, brings up a point saying packaging more of our food for direct to consumers is needed.
Yes, absolutely, and that's one. Yeah, and that's definitely a sector issue. That's a sector problem. And so
And
to Tim's point, and hi Tim, great to see your message. Yeah, I think if there are certain pain points, if we are able to correct, then we can bring, more product to market as well. So,
well, what do you see with like potential entrepreneurs that have something that could be packaged, but don't even think like, or even have that mindset to know like that process of, manufacturing their own food? And because I know a lot of caterers that could take their stuff and actually turn it into like a retail product, but it's never even entering their mind. So do you see a lot of people with excellent food products that they cook, but not really packaging it?
absolutely. A couple of years back, we came across somebody that wanted to use an ancient grain to make bread, and one of the health benefits of it was that it was great if you had diabetes. So
really?
it addressed that issue. It's I think it was a West African grain. Yes, yeah, and so now now she's packaging that, but you can make pasta out of it. You can make bread out of it. So and
multi-purpose.
Sorry, Marie.
I was saying it's gluten free as well. Like
it's gluten free, and so that's naturally occurring, right? So those are the products that we kind of want to bring to market, because there's always that health factor. I mean, to be honest, the Black community has not had the luxury of having food that's on the health, high up on the health meter, because we cook in heavy oils. We use bone broth, but not in the way that you extract the part of it. We kind of use it to season and provide flavor. So part of what we're trying to do is that's great, but maybe modernize it a bit while you can still maintain the flavor, but you have more of a health aspect to it, because everybody wants to live longer and healthier. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cher says also, part of the challenge is kids are often rushed to finish eating at school. Lunches need not to be too messy and quick to eat.
I think lunches have gotten shorter. My kids only have half an hour, which is insane. Like, have you ever seen a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old eat? You need an hour and a half.
Exactly.
And some coaching, like you need some reinforcement. So
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. Go ahead, Janice.
No, I was gonna say, really, it goes back to lifestyle, really, because how many parents during the week can actually put a solid meal on the table before you can get out the door to be at work at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 7 or whatever the hours is. And so what you see is the creation of these fast food products that are either high in sugar. Right. I mean, if you read the label, so here's an example. An adult is only allowed 34 grams of sugar. Do you know how quick it is to hit those 34 grams? So
I believe it.
There's an app. I forget the name of the app. Food something or the other. Try and use it for a week, and you will be surprised how quickly you hit those 34 grams.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And if you don't exercise, that just becomes excess weight.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
I mean, I always say more to love, but hey.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, like, will the day ever come that in lunchrooms or lunch cafeterias you'll see more of our food? What do you think?
Ooh, like the older,
like in the school area.
I think it depends on what community you're in, right? Where you are. In Toronto, you're probably more likely to see that. Like I grew up in Barrie. I don't know if you're going to see that, or Burlington or Oakville or some of the other communities that are not as densely populated with the community. But
I think we've seen more touch points, such as Durham. You have a high community of Black residents. So the more areas we start to populate, that's where the demand is created. And so, you know, when I lived in Dundas, Ontario, my family and I were one of the very few Black families there I could literally count on one hand. But if you went outside of Dundas and went to Hamilton, there were more Black families. And so I'd have to drive to Toronto to find Black food products and bring it back to Dundas.
Wow.
Having said that, now, if you, Dundas, Hamilton, Ancaster, they've all amalgamated. So what you see now is you'll see little bits and pieces of Jamaican stores or Black businesses popping up because the population is there. So what I learned very early is when you are first in and they look at you like, oh my God, who is she?
Yes.
Who are they? Right? Yeah, I've invaded.
Right.
You know, it's twofold. You get an opportunity to educate because they're fascinated by, as I always like to say, the exotic creature that is in their midst, right?
Yes.
But I always look at it as an opportunity to educate and inform, right? Because they don't know what they don't know. They haven't had any interaction with us. So for me, it's an opportunity.
Right.
And I think if anything, tourism has taught us, especially for Jamaica, is how the willingness of people to embrace another culture.
Yeah.
They're willingly to do that through food. Food first. You got to feed them first.
Right.
And
Yes.
and that's what creates the experience. So that's the connection, right?
Gastro diplomacy.
Gastro-diplomacy. There you go.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes,
I'm serious. There's a whole field of study on that sort of thing. It's
really?
If you start looking at, like, if you look at even all-American foods, like how the hot dog ended up being an all-American food, it has to do with the monarchy coming to America and that being the food that was served to them. Like, it's big. Different countries will give subsidies to go into other countries and establish restaurants so that you.
Yes.
And how many Thai restaurants are there in Canada? How many Thai people do you know?
Yeah.
Right. So.
Right.
But you have a favorable view of the people because you like the food.
That's right. And so that's how it happens. And to Marie's point, before social media, pictures of food was gastro porn.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know. No, don't laugh, Dr. Vine. It's true. It was called gastro porn.
I know. I love the term. I'm not laughing. I love the term.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's food. You know, we keep saying it. Food is such a connector on so many levels. You don't realize how much of an introduction it is in terms of telling people who you are.
Right. And I think part like, you know, adding to that is kind of when people know your food, they know you. When your food is not accessible, it also means that your culture is a little bit hidden, not accessible.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You know, so like, you know, going back, my goal with Foodpreneur Lab and the 4-year project is going through a grocery store and seeing at least one Haitian product that's you know, mass marketed to the point where my children can come and they can, you know, try a food item and have a shortcut available to them, right? Because I think it'll help build that sort of that pride and that identity and that connection with yourself and your culture.
Yeah. And that's across the board, whether Nigerian, Guyanese, Trinidad, you name it, it has to be reflected because they exist. We exist. You know, I mean, for the sake of this conversation, you know, Marie's outnumbered by Jamaicans, but you know, if that was the case,
my life.
If I replaced Ryan from someone who's from Nigeria, then we would get an educational experience of Nigerian food. The same way if I brought in someone from Trinidad. So, you know, it's a story. It really and truly is food is a story.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I went to a restaurant a few months ago called Bukan. It's on Kingston Road. Yes, you know about it?
Actually.
Yeah, and they served the meal on a cord of wood. Thought it was amazing. Like, it was really, really good. And they had different twists on things I already knew about, but it was just really nice. And they were serving me or sharing their country to me via their food. Yeah.
And it's so funny because I like when you tell those stories because Jamaicans, and I only speak for my country as well as those represented here, we don't like food discovery. We kind of like what we like, and we don't veer away from. So I had an experience where I took a family member to Rondo's. If anybody knows Rondo's, it's a 4-star restaurant out in Stratford. It's part of Stratford Festival, and you have to wait months to get a reservation. And I took this family member there, and by the time they finished picking out everything, it was just, as we say, so rice and gravy.
Right.
That's like, you can't do that, right? You know, you can't do that. So one of the things is I realized very early, and I too suffered from that in the beginning, which was I stayed true to my Jamaican roots, and I wouldn't try anything different. But then when I got into that culinary space, I had to be adventurous, and that is how I grew my food knowledge. So, you know, it's like, you know, if Maria and I are talking about, you know, it's charcuterie, and a yard man coming about charcuterie, what is that? I said, cold cut. Oh, cold cuts. All right.
Yes,
all right. Top. You know what I mean? It's
true. Yeah.
Bougie cold cuts.
Exactly. Bougie cold cuts. To Marie's point. That's right. So, I mean, it's not things that we don't eat. It's just
not
the
comfortable
French
with it.
That too, but the French cuisine spin on things has made us feel like, oh, that's not us.
Right.
When ironically, that French cuisine is also integrated in almost everything that we put our hands on, whether it be the spice, the gravies, or there's a cooking style, you know, whether we boil things down or simmer it down and or we cook a base. That's what that comes from the culinary foundation. So we're actually using it, but I really implore our Black community to go and try outside of the Jamaican or the Black diaspora and try other cultural foods.
So as we start winding it down, I'm going to ask, what is your favorite go-to lunchbox meal these days? Ryan, I'm going to have you go first.
If I'm packing my own lunch, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever packed a lunch for myself to go to work. And my wife will tell me, like, listen, you need to actually have lunch, because I'll just go without breakfast, without lunch, and then have a big dinner. So if I am packing a lunch, usually it's dinner from the night before. And then if it's something I'm making like from scratch, I don't know. I like peanut butter sandwiches. I'm a fan. So yeah. But yeah, I typically don't pack a lunch.
Okay, that's a lazy man's food, but I give you that. Okay, that just means you don't like make food. Okay, that means I like what you like.
You know, my go-to breakfast is the what's it? Cinnamon raisin bagel toasted with cream cheese. So that, because I usually skip breakfast, that's usually my lunch. But yeah.
Right.
Again, lazy man. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, before we get everyone else's got a question here from Harris Marketing. A good question here. What influence does the slave diet and lower socioeconomics play in the choice of foods for our community today?
Right.
That's deep.
Yes.
I think it goes back to you know, if you look at the meat cuts, it's always almost close to the bone, right? And what do? We use it to make stew. You know, I mean, we had a friend of mine and I were talking the other day, and actually, I'm not going to tell that story.
No. Cut.
But it's crazy that they used to give away like the oxtail, the fish head.
That's right. The ends.
I know my dad is a carnivore of fish heads. He loves fish heads.
And they used to be free.
Right. So to Dr. Vibe's point, that same fish head, when you watch him eat that, is the equivalent of what somebody eat that oxtail bone. I mean, they suck the life out of that bone, man. Okay.
Yes.
So to the question, I think you see ends, and so with the current situation of food insecurity, that hasn't changed very much. You know, we tend to buy cuts of meat on the lower end for flavor, not necessarily for the health benefit
They
of
take
it.
longer, but they're tastier, right?
Well, girl,
Yes.
every West Indian household has a pressure cooker. Okay,
Yes.
that's what that's for. Okay.
Yes.
But to the question, yeah, it goes back to that. So, you know, we'll buy the ends. We'll buy food that we know can last longer. So the flour that makes the dumpling, that makes the other things, the fried and boiled, the yam, the dasheen, those tend to last longer. They provide they're more satiated on your stomach. So it's not a far stretch from what we've been doing. Not much, as far as I'm concerned, has really changed.
Yeah, and going back to what I was saying earlier about not having a huge distinction between all the meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I know a big staple for us is moulin, which is essentially like polenta or cornmeal. And we managed to sneak it into every meal. Like there's a dessert with cornmeal. It's like a porridge. We make it into like a square called écoté. We have, like, of course, it alongside the various meats and stews for dinner. And then for breakfast, you can just eat it with banane plantain, like you eat it with plantains, and that's like a very common way to sort of have that one ingredient last you all day long, as opposed to having these distinct. This is your breakfast food. This is your lunch.
This is your dinner. That's right.
That is not something that I think a lot of different communities are able to indulge in. It's something that's a little bit more high end in terms of economic situations.
Yeah, and Haitians call it plantain. Big up the plantain.
We call it plantain, right?
Oh,
it's just the way it translates, right?
So Tim is saying center of the plate protein is different than white in the white establishments and the black establishments because of the influence of the slavery era. So there we go. All right, so let's go back to our go-to lunch meal. Marie.
So I'm a little spoiled because my husband is a chef and he's currently at home. So Janice will tell you that sometimes I'll be in the middle of a meeting and I'll just do one of these, and then this big beautiful bowl of I like salads, like, but really hearty salads. Like it's there's the leaf is the least amount that's in there. There's just it's like there's like chicken and honey and cheese and fruit, and it's like a little bit of arugula somewhere in there. Like it's just big, beautiful, like laborious, everything got cut and fried and sauteed kind of salad. So that's my life.
Oh man, I love that.
Tim says, yes, Marie.
The big salad. Yeah.
The big salad, yes.
Yes. For me, hopefully.
Janice, how about yourself?
Yes.
Hey, listen, man. I'm not into the rabbit food. I'm a girl. I like my red pea soup. I will kill for a good red pea soup. That's my thing, man. And I will take that. I will take that for lunch on a good day. Because for me, especially in the cold weather that we live in, that sticks to your ribs, man. Sticks to your ribs.
Right,
so.
Love that.
All right, good stuff. I'm gonna see. Go ahead. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up. We're talking about this gentleman on MasterChef.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing if I can pull this up now. I don't know if it's gonna get on the replay band or not, but see if I can pull it up. Yes. Let's see if I can play it. Let's see if I can play it. Here we go.
I picked this dish, I suppose, because it's one of my earliest memories of delicious food. I will demonstrate love. This is what I'm called woolly beef and rice. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's my mother's tongue. It's corned beef and white rice.
So you're using really the cheapest of ingredients and making something truly delicious.
And for me, this is a rich man's dish. I've tasted the big dishes all around the world. Yeah, this, nothing touches this.
You see?
I've never seen corned beef on rice. With some chili? It tastes really, really good. But it's got to. It absolutely has to.
I almost hope that one of them doesn't like it so that I can eat it. That's how good I think it is.
He says it's delicious. Well, look, I downed his butternut squash. That was delicious. So maybe I'm going to be proved wrong.
Jackpot.
Finally, it's Chris, who has cooked bully beef. Corned beef with onions, garlic and Scotch bonnet, topped with a cherry tomato, and served with rosemary and thyme flavoured rice.
I've never seen it cook like that.
There's a real richness coming from that corned beef with all those onions. Love that chili heat that's coming from that Scotch bonnet, and just a little tiny bit of tomato running through it. The rice is cooked really, really nicely. I have a bit of an issue. That corned beef, it's very salty. That beef, there is natural sweetness of onion that you brought out of there, and a little bit of chili as well. And you managed to present it okay. Chris, you have to accept showing less cooking than anybody else, but it tastes good. What can I say to you?
Well, the taste says it all. That's the best I've ever produced. I mean, that was... For me, that was out of the park. Yeah.
So there we go. I wanted to show that.
Back to what I was saying earlier about not having a huge distinction between all the meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I know.
So there we go.
Wow, the presentation was on point. I have to tell, but
Yes.
I was at a friend's event the other day, and there was a Black comedian, Jay Martin said
again.
The key that he walked. One thing you must always have on your keychain, and it's the key for the bully beef.
Janice and I were there together. You want to see about 40 people almost fall to the ground?
And it's true, because let me tell you, have you ever tried to open a bully beef tin when you don't have the key?
There's no way in.
There's no way.
There's no way in.
There is. That ain't happening.
Yes.
Nope.
Well, hold on, Dr. Vibe, you didn't say what's in your lunchbox?
Lunchbox, yeah.
Well, various things. If I'm getting something to take, I always like my chicken patty and cocoa bread. But I also like a good soup.
Yeah.
A good
Okay.
and you know what I would really like, and I don't know anywhere closer. I would love fish head soup.
Okay. But isn't Superlicious franchising now? Didn't they come to Scarborough?
I don't know, but a good fish head soup that's just up my alley. But patty and cocoa bread, and I like Marie, I eat at least one good salad every day. Every day I eat at least one good salad. So, but lunchtime, definitely patty and cocoa bread or some soup. I do that. I wish there were places closer, but the thing is, again, if you go to our people's food for lunchtime, it's never small. It's a big, usually a good serving.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll just eat part of it and have the rest for dinner.
Yeah. And I just want to quickly throw in the two questions about the slavery diet and what are we leaning towards. For example, green bananas. Green bananas and liver. That is a staple item in
yes.
Right?
Yes.
So again, another example, because that just came to me. So that hasn't disappeared either.
True.
Good stuff. Well, ladies, thank you so much for the first showing. It was fantastic. We had so much fun.
I enjoyed it.
If you want to get a hold of Foodpreneur Lab, there's the website address. There they are on Facebook. There they are on Instagram. Had a ball. This is hilarious. And they will next be with us on September 12th. Reclaiming Farm to Table discussion, how the term excludes black farmers and current yes.
And this has been a hot topic of real recent.
Yes.
We would start a little bit on the lunchbox and then dive right in.
Yes.
Yeah. That was just the appetizer.
Yes.
That was just the appetizer.
Yes, we're gonna go main course the next time. Well, look, ladies, thank you so much for taking. I love this. This is a great idea. Have a good rest of the day. Remember to give yourselves grace, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you.
Thank
You for having me.
Thank you.
Be well.
Our pleasure.
Bye-bye. Lots of fun today. Fantastic. And we have on the screen there, yes. How you can contact them. Fantastic. And we're able to show the bully beef and rice. Yes.
Man, I've never seen it made like that. I have to give him credit. That was like top notch. Yes.
That was so good. You know what? I really, one of the joys I get is when we can introduce new things that benefit our people. And I am so jacked about this segment. And getting the interaction from the audience, and of course share. I almost feel like I need to copy those comments and put them for future use, or at least make a clip of that commentary. It was so much fun. But that was just so much. So what's going on for the rest of the week, Ryan?
This week is ramping up. There's the investment readiness program that I keep talking about. This grant is supposed to be opening in September. So we're trying to get as many Black business owners, Black organizations to start their social enterprises and get funding for it. So
actually, you know what? Okay, Janice is still in the green room, and there's a question here, and I want to know if she'd be able to come back on and address it. So I'm going to bring Janice back in.
Hello.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's a question here from Harris Marketing. I think is a good one. With the abundance of obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure in our community, what role can you play in educating us on making healthier versus cultural and convenient meals?
So I spoke a little about that in our conversation while we're talking about foods and the importance of educating the Black community using less oils, less heavier foods, more foods that have less sugar, or that we are now responsible for creating alternatives to that. And to be fair with regard to that question, we will get there. But you have to keep in mind, this is the first time where we've actually had the opportunity to participate. So we can't go from 0 to 60 that fast. We have structural barriers that either address the food sector itself, then we have the financial barriers in between, and then we have the production barriers, and then we have the access and distribution barriers. So there's a lot of fixing that needs to be done. Exactly. Can we do it? Absolutely, but it will take some time. However, I'm a huge proponent of educating our current cohorts about how food is changing, what other healthy alternatives are available. I mean, I'll give you an example. We went from cow's milk to almond milk to cashew milk to rice milk to gluten-free, no soy. I mean, it sounds like a Starbucks coffee, okay?
Yeah, but like in such a short period of time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So through education and through food innovation as well, that is happening as we speak. But the importance is we have to get that information into our communities. And how do we do that? Actually, through our youth, through education. And then we educate them, and they're the ones, as well as some, culinary experts, food science experts, because we do have Black food scientists as well, that will help introduce that into the community. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah,
wonderful.
And Ryan, I'm just thinking, I can't remember the gentleman's name, that he's over in another country and he's doing stuff. He's like, what's the guy's name? We've had him on twice. We had him on a few weeks ago. He's part of a cohort.
Sean from Sigriff.
Yes.
With the food,
there's definitely there's a conversation that him and Janice should have.
Yeah.
Because he's delivering nutrients through nanotechnology.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've seen a shift. We've seen a shift from traditional farming to vertical farming. We've now seen alternative foods that are genetically modified. We now look at how can we grow food faster with that are more nutrient dense.
Right.
It's happening.
Yeah.
So
instead of the reverse where it's faster and less nutrients.
That's right. And so. How does that get into the community over time? It's not going to happen, overnight.
Right.
And let's be honest, as Black folks, we question what we put in our mouth. Just because you tell me it's dehydrated and it's gonna work for you, we go, no, we don't. We
No,
question
we'd rather eat the
everything.
bun and cheese with all the sugar and
Exactly. So what we're trying to do now is we really are trying to profile more Black farmers and have diversity in terms of what they're growing, so that not only can they become a supplier, but they can also educate as well.
So I have to admit, I went into the bad end of food yesterday at this event. I don't know if I can show it on my screen, but there was a plate full of chicken wings, jerk chicken, festival, all this sort of stuff. So, and shrimp in the middle. So I had my indulgent yesterday. It was nice. It was nice.
Hey, listen, I keep telling people, you gotta live a little, okay? Fat's not bad. It's just too much of it, like anything else, is not good. But you know, I always say, exactly. I always say to my girlfriends, I say, you never walk past a coffin. I say, she did skinny.
Yes.
I think we have a J. Martin protege with us now too. Okay.
I mean,
J. Martin, your protege.
Yes,
you said that's your protege.
We spend so much time obsessing about our weight. It's not even so much weight. I mean, listen, Black women, Black men, we, historically speaking, we are genes. We have strong genes. We're built solid. Okay, we are built solid, and that's a good thing because it serves a purpose. It helps us carry whatever load. It fights off diseases. What we have to do is maintain it, and you know, you gotta live life. Everything in within reason. So that's my motto.
So no problem. So we had some bonus time with Janice. Thanks again. If we get any more questions, if you're in the green room, we'll bring you up again. So, thanks a lot. Take care.
Tell them they have to tune in September 12th.
Yeah, well,
for our next one.
We know some media places that have been talking about the whole farms thing and that, and so we're going to get a real good deep down perspective on it from two experts. So the rest of the week is quiet for you?
Yeah, admin, and we're still pushing through with the study groups on Tuesdays. So yeah, hopefully we'll see more action items come out of us talking as a Black ecosystem.
So Ray says diet, DNA, and exercise. Our lifestyles here are probably the challenge. We have to eating the way we're accustomed to eating. Lack of activity doesn't permit us to eat the way our ancestors did. Great point.
Yes.
Great point. Very, very good point. So great start off to the end of August. Fantastic. So if you want to catch replays, the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube and Facebook, Afro-Caribbean Business at Work, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan O'Neill Night on YouTube. We are back on Friday. Now, let's see. I'm going to test Ryan. Who's here on Friday?
Financial chat with Wayne Harris. Looking forward to it.
Man, yes, Financial First Fridays.
Yes.
So we're going to have Wayne, and I'll chat with him today or tomorrow, see he wants to chat about. So follow us wherever you're watching this so you get notified of the upcoming conversations. Again, we've got Wayne next month. We've got Janice next month. We have Ray McMillan coming next month.
Yes.
We have a one-time appearance by Kofi Hope to talk about housing, urbanization, etc. That is going to be a great conversation. And also, if you have any people you'd like us to have on the show, please contact us. You can contact me. All these
diamonds in that are not spotlighted, we want to definitely give them a platform.
And there's all the places where you can contact me. Got another message here. Hey, thank you, Tim. Have a great day. Right back at you, Tim. Thanks for making the conversation great. Thank you for the conversation on Friday, too. Had a lot of people talk to me about it. Had a very deep conversation on Friday on Saturday about Black Canadian media. It was 2.5 hours long. So that was, it was not playing. So
intense. I love it.
Very intense. So as always, we close off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And I guess what are you having for lunch today?
Yeah, I'm gonna go upstairs and check. Sweet potato fries. I saw those in the freezer. You do some of those.
Oh, you're gonna cook? We need to get a reel of Ryan Knight cooking.
Right.
That'd be interesting. Well, I'm a barbecue guy. I love barbecuing.
Hey,
so
let us when invitation is open. We'd love to go.
All right,
like that.
then. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Bye.